Hey guys, so if I'm actually whispering, it's because it's like 2 in the morning right now and everybody in my house is sleeping, so yeah, I gotta keep it quiet. So this makeup look is actually part of an amazing collaboration with Outcast SFX here on YouTube. You have to go follow this guy. He is 14 years old and so freaking talented. His work is just beyond amazing. I really love his creativity and he's just so freaking talented. You guys seriously have to go subscribe to his channel and go follow him on Instagram. All the links to his social media will be down below, so please go check him out. So yep, there really isn't a lot to say about this look, except if you want to see how I did it, then just gotta keep on watching.
Okay, so before I started off with the tutorial, I just blocked out 3/4 of my eyebrows and left just a little bit of them showing just so that I know where to draw my fake eyebrows. And then I took a black eyeliner pencil and sketched out my mouth. And then I did a mix of my NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat foundation in soft beige mixed with Mehron Clown white and Cinema Secrets Dead Flesh, and just dotted that all over my face and blend that all out using a cosmetic wedge. Then I took my airspun powder and just set all that makeup because it is a cream, so you have to set it, and then moved on to creating all the shading and all the wrinkles using my NYX AVANT POP palette. Now, as you can see, I'm taking that really dark chocolate brown on a small detail brush and I'm just drawing all the wrinkles on my face, so such as the nasolabial folds and the furrows on my brows, and I'm just creating a lot of wrinkles and a lot of character. I later on switched to using an angled brush because it just became a lot easier for making all these wrinkles, and then I moved on to hollowing out my eyes. So I'm taking a mix between these two browns that I just showed you, and I'm just basically hollowing out my eyes, making them look a little bit more sunken in, and also adding a lot more shadows to those wrinkles. And what I'm doing is I'm basically just packing the angled end of the brush with the eyeshadow, and then I'm taking the fluffy end of the brush and just blending the color outward, so that's going to create a little bit more of an actual shadow, like the wrinkle is actually folding. The easiest way to make wrinkles is to just basically make a lot of facial expressions to sort of find out where the natural wrinkles of your face lie and sort of sketch them out based on that, or just look up at a reference picture of creatures or really old people and just base your wrinkles off of that. And then you just want to take that dark brown eyeshadow again, and you just want to add a lot more shadows to the areas that need a lot more depth, so such as the nasolabial folds. Also take that dark brown eyeshadow again and start contouring and defining the features of your face. So I'm just basically creating a really hollowed out kind of like feature, almost skeleton based. So I'm just exaggerating my cheekbones, my temples, making them look really hollow, making my nose look very slim as well, and defining the wrinkles in my nose to make them look like I'm snarling. And to define them even further, I'm just taking NYX's Primal color in hot black, which is literally like one of the most pigmented black eyeshadows like out there, and I'm just creating a lot more depth and dimension using that black eyeshadow. Next, I'm taking a white cream makeup, and this is from Graftobian, and I'm creating all the highlights for each of the wrinkles. And whenever you're creating wrinkles and you add depth and shadows, you want to do the complete opposite and add a highlight to the wrinkle to make it look more raised. So what you want to do is to add a highlight or a white line in between or on either side of each wrinkle and tap it out with your finger, so that way it looks like the light is hitting it and making it look more raised. At the same time, I'm adding this to the temples and the cheekbones to make them look more raised and make my face look more sunken in and hollow. Then I just took that black eyeshadow and I added this to my nostrils to make them a little bit darker, and at the same time defined some of the other areas on my face. So I noticed that the nasolabial folds needed a little bit more depth, so I just added the black eyeshadow there. To create the illusion of a pointy nose, what you want to do is add a shadow in the shape of a V to the tip of your nose, and then take some white cream makeup and add the actual highlight right in the very tip of the nose, and that's gonna create the illusion that your nose is pointy. And then I just took that white cream makeup and started highlighting a couple of the wrinkles to make them look a lot more defined. I wanted this leprechaun to have sort of like a very creature-y kind of look, so I just created a stencil using foam paper, and what I'm doing is that I watered down Mehron Paradise paint in black and loaded up my airbrush using that, and I just stenciled these black scales on my face. And what I'm doing is I'm making them darker as they go like deeper into the hairline by putting a lot more pressure into the airbrush, and that's gonna make them look a lot darker. Now for the teeth, what I'm doing is I'm mixing Mehron Paradise paint in white with mango from my tropical palette from Mehron, and I'm basically creating the shape of the teeth and filling them in. And I'm making the teeth in the front bigger and the teeth in the back smaller. And now I'm taking these two colors that I'm showing you, so I'm mixing white and red and a little bit of black to make the color I'm gonna use for the gums, and I'm just filling in the gums using like a very dark kind of grungy pink color, and then I mixed in black and red to fill in the inside of the mouth and to separate each of the teeth as well. So then I used a brown and gray eyeshadow to create a shadow where the teeth indents the gum, so right in that area where the root of the tooth kind of indents the gum, and at the same time I'm using that exact same shadow to add a lot more depth to where the teeth curve inside the mouth, because obviously that's going to be the area that's going to be more shaded. And then with the white cream makeup, I'm just adding highlights to the gums and to the lips. Then I took a white Paradise paint by Mehron and I highlighted the edges of each of the teeth. And then I took a red lip liner and added this to my waterline to make them look a lot more irritated. Then I started drawing some crazy eyebrows using the Paradise paint in orange by Mehron, and I basically just laid down the orange first and the shape of the eyebrow that I wanted, and then used brown to darken it up, and then used a little bit of white to add highlights and to make the hairs look a little bit more realistic and stand out. Do a little NYX eyebrow dance, and then start sketching out the features of your clothes using a white eyeliner pencil. And now I'm taking white Paradise paint by Mehron and I'm filling in the shirt, and you might have to do a couple of coats of this depending on what type of body paint you're using. And then I'm using a green and black from Mehron and mixing them together to create a really dark green for the bow tie, and I'm just filling the bow tie in, making it look sort of jagged and messy, like he's worn it for a while and it's just coming off. And then I used a flat brush with green and filled in the vest using that. So now I'm mixing dark green and lime green from Mehron to create sort of like an in-between shade, and I'm using an 830 brush by Mehron, and oh my god, this brush, you guys, it just became my #1 favorite brush to body paint. Just a little bit of product that you put on the brush just goes a really long way. It's just so amazing. And now I'm using the exact same color I used on the bow tie to paint the color of the suit.
Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shade and highlight the shirt. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take some gray eyeshadow, and I'm first going to sketch out where the color of my shirt is going to be. So it's gonna be like a little fold. I'm just gonna take that black eyeshadow and basically just draw the shadow that will be casted by this fold on the rest of the clothes. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some Paradise paint, which I basically just like turned into a little liquid and poured in here. I'm taking the black, and this is what I'm gonna use to create all the shadows in the fold. I originally used eyeshadows, but it became really hard to blend on some areas, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the airbrush thing. So that actually worked out a lot better. If you do not have an airbrush, then you can definitely just use an eyeshadow. Just make sure that you invest on a couple of good blending brushes. Make sure that you as well have some really good eyeshadows that are good for blending. Now I'm just gonna take some black eyeshadow and intensify those shadows just a tiny bit more. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to literally the most satisfying part of a whole body paint. I love doing the step. It basically just brings the whole look together and it makes it look like 100 times better. What you want to do is that you want to take some Paradise paint in white or whatever like white face paint you're using, and a small brush, well, small or like this, and you just want to, if you're body painting clothing, then you just want to add the white like in a straight line along the edge of the cloth and just drag it down. Can you see that clearly? I think you can. Anyways, then you want to take the brush that you used to apply the previous color in the same piece of fabric and then just apply it on top of the white and then drag the color downwards, and that's basically gonna fade the white with the color that we applied previously, and that's gonna add a really intense highlight. Okay, so now we're gonna highlight the bow tie, and actually what I like to do first is that I like to add the shadows first. So once I have the shadows, then I usually add my highlights. So let me just add my shadows first, and I'm using NYX's Primal color in a hot black because it's literally like one of the most pigmented black eyeshadows like out there. Gonna add a line and then drag the color outwards. Now I'm gonna draw the little indent that a lot of bow ties seem to have. Once you tie like a bow tie together, if you look at one, there's gonna be like a little indent, like a little fold. So this. And next I'm gonna add the shadow that will be basically made once the actual like fabric kind of like folds and creates that really nice kind of like curve. It does kind of tend to create a shadow once it's folding. I'm just gonna add my highlights. If you could not see what I was doing, I just basically added a shadow that would be casted by the shirt on my skin, and I used a little bit of like a taupe eyeshadow mixed with like a dark brown eyeshadow to do that shadow, and at the same time I just added a little bit of black right here where it would be a lot more intensely shaded. So yes, now I'm just blending like crazy. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to detail, and I really love doing detail when it comes to body painting because it just brings it to the very next level and it makes it look a lot more interesting. So what I'm gonna do is, I was actually looking at a lot of reference pictures online and I realized that a lot of costumes had like a lot of gold trims and a lot of gold details, so I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna do some gold details. I have Graftobian metallic powder in gold. Let me see if you can see that clearly. And I'm actually gonna mix it with the mixing medium, and what this is gonna do is once you add the mixing medium to the powder, it's gonna turn it into a liquid. Hopefully you can see that, but it's like once I mix it with the mixing medium, it literally turns it into a liquid. And I'm just gonna draw a line along the edge of the vest. Okay, so hot tip time. If you do not have a metallic powder, what you can do is that you can take a gold loose eyeshadow or a loose pigment and mix it with a little bit of glycerin, which you can find at CVS or Michael's. I actually found it at Michael's for very cheap. You can mix it and it will create the exact same effect as mixing mixing medium with a gold metallic powder. The only problem is that glycerin does not dry. So if you're planning on going out, you might want to set it with a powder, and even then it's still gonna be messy. So try and invest or get you some mixing medium because this is beneficial. Okay, now that we got that done, we're gonna draw some clovers. So whenever you're drawing a clover, keep in mind that the clover has 4 semicircular leaves. They're basically in the shape of like a little triangle, only that instead of actually having angular edges, the edges kind of like curve around.
I think now is the perfect time to say that I was originally intending on even doing some of my teeth in gold, but I forgot for some reason. But if you wanna do it, then you know you got the idea there. All you have to do is just paint your teeth gold and voila. With a black eyeshadow, I'm creating the line that will be the seam of the shirt, and I'm just blending that shadow outwards, and then I'm taking white Paradise paint and doing the exact same thing as I did to highlight the rest of the clothes. And in order to create the wrinkles on my clothes, I just took the white makeup and just applied it in like lines in the suit, and then just took the previous color that I used for the suit and just blended those lines outwards, and then added a shadow in between those wrinkles to make them look more realistic.
So that is it. I really hope that you all enjoyed this makeup tutorial, and if you did, please make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel because that really helps me out. Also, if you want to follow me on any other social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, the links will be down below, as well as a list of products I use in this video. So I really hope to see you next time, and bye!